Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to New Jersey Motorsports Park for Superbikes at New Jersey, the season finale weekend of MotoAmerica competition. We are queuing up for the final race of the season for Twins Cup. I'm Greg Creamer, Roger Hayden alongside, and Roger, it really comes down to now there's one race yet to go, and there's 1 point between the top two in this championship. It is just going to be amazing. 1 point after all of these races. Now, we've been following all weekend long, obviously, the weather. There we are, just a little bit south of Vineland there in Millville, where the track is. Those are the remnants of Tropical Storm, now Tropical Depression Ophelia. It's moving out, and the nice thing is we've got a little bit of a breeze. It's much less than yesterday, but the rain has stopped, at least for now. And if we don't get any bands coming through, we could still have a dry day for the rest of this one. The track's not far away, Roger. That's just going to make this all the more racy.
Yeah, there's definitely a dry line, and you could see how much more it has changed. The start of that Junior Cup race till the end, and now it's actually had 20 minutes since then before the Twins Cup guys. So it's just going to throw another variable in it. The guys yesterday raced whenever the track was really wet, so they know what it's like. Now it's changing, and it's going to be different every lap, and just throws another twist into this story.
Absolutely. And, when we came in here, the points weren't that close. There were 3 riders still well within range here. And let's take a look at the highlights. And you can see, look at those conditions. And Blake Davis delivered a message early. He had a great run in qualifying in the dry, was fast in the morning qualifying in the wet. And he just checked out early with Dominic Doyle jumping into second.
Yeah, loves the rain, was really excited for the race, Blake was. And you could see as the race got on just how much he was slowly starting to pull away from the other guys. Just looked a little bit more comfortable, and you can see some of the championship guys are a little bit outside the top 5 at this point.
And a guy named Cassidy Heiser was really, really fast and moved his way up almost to officially clock through in third. And you can see how upset he was. Did a great job. But Blake Davis up front just started to open things up a little bit. The battling behind him, there's Rocco Landers getting into it with Spencer Humphreys. But up front, it was Blake Davis who rode away to a pretty solid win here. And with Gus Rodeo's finish, they end up with Dominic Doyle there in second. Rodeo right here goes through underneath his teammate Ben Glady on his return, and that was huge.
Yesterday was a championship ride by Gus. Bad start, outside the top 10, works himself all the way back into second, and really stepped up in that race, and now he has a real chance today.
Yeah, and for Rocco Landers, who showed that he could be quick in the wet with being second in that morning qualifying, had a 5th in the race. It's going to be really tough for him to do anything today, because here's how the points look now. There's that 1 point we're talking about, but then it's another 19 from Gus Rodeo back to Rocco. Rocco's going to need massive help today.
Yeah, Rocco's going to need those two to maybe battle it out and make a mistake and to open that door for him, and he's going to need a win. 25 points, and those two guys have an issue.
Third person on our team who has been doing yeoman's work down there in a damp pit lane all weekend, Jamie Howe. What's the word as we prepare for this fascinating finale here for Twins Cup?
When I came out after that sighting lap, Greg, the rain had pretty much stopped. There were even a couple of dry spots here on the front straightaway, but now that everybody's made it into their starting positions, the rain is starting to sprinkle just a little bit more again. But Dominic Doyle, he's on the second row to start off the second race of the weekend. He was also second in the first session of qualifying when it was dry. You finished the race in second yesterday in the wet. Now it's a little bit mixed. What do you have to stay focused on?
Just keeping a steady mind and just going out there and riding my own race, kind of not getting caught up in everyone else's mess. But just want to get a good start again and just go for it and try and hopefully lead the race from start to finish.
You were able to make up a lot of pace during the race yesterday compared to what you were in the wet setup earlier on. In terms of comfortability, how comfortable are you at this point?
Pretty comfortable. Warm-up was really good this morning, so feeling pretty good for the race. We ended up third in warm-up, and just looking forward to a really good race.
All All right, it's going to be a good one to watch indeed. Let's move up. We're going to look at the front row of the grid right here. We've got Rocco Landers, who is sitting on the pole position. You see him right behind me here. He's going to start this race off. He didn't get the best of starts yesterday. He gets another shots at it again today. And then we have starting in second is Gus Rodeo. He finished the race in third yesterday. And then I want to talk to Blake Davis. He had a great start from the third position. You led it all the way until the end of the race. Conditions kind of similar, but the rain's not falling quite as hard. What are you focused on?
Yeah, I mean, really just going to go out there and judge the track the best I can, go the fast that I can, hopefully wrap up this championship.
You've got Rocco Landers, got Ben Glotty. Who are you thinking about?
No one really. I'm just going to go ride my race. I know I can win it. I just have to ride my best and have a good time.
Explain this tape to me. I haven't seen this before.
Yeah, just trying to keep my breath down. My shield fogged up a lot yesterday, so trying to keep my breath out of my shield, keep everything clear so I can see good.
It's actually a cool fashion statement. Also, we're going to go back. We're going to go back to the fourth position. This number 72 bike. This is Ben Glotty. He was able to finish in the fourth position yesterday, getting some tips and last-minute words there from Josh Hayes. What did he say to you before he walked away?
He was just telling me to have fun and ride my own race. Don't worry about what's going on at the front. Just kind of get myself there and see where we end up at the end of the race.
It's always about the start to kick things off, and then you kind of settle down a little bit. How happy were you with your performance yesterday?
I was happy with it. I got off to a good start and kind of pulled away from everybody, and then Gus was able to catch me there at the end. But, I was happy with it. First race back since Daytona, so I can't complain.
The field, as it's changed over the course of the season, you having stepped away and then come back to it, what's different now?
It's just more competitive, a lot more guys at the front, They're all pushing really hard and riding really good, so it's definitely a challenge.
All right, I'm going to wrap things up here. I did hear one of the sirens go off up here on the starting grid. We're going to have a great race. It's going to be exciting for all of these fans that have stuck it out. You want one more? Okay, let's do one more. Let's go over to Jackson Blackman. He finished 8th in the first race yesterday. When you think about the performance that you had and what you've been able to learn over the course of time, what do you have going into the second race?
Yeah, we made some wholesale changes last night to the bike, and this morning in warm-up it felt great. So I'm feeling a lot more confident today and hoping I can get up there and mix it up with these guys. So I'm really excited and want to end the year on a good note.
A lot of the riders, they say that it comes down to their confidence on the motorcycle when the conditions are what we've seen throughout the weekend. In terms of your confidence, where are you now after making those changes and having the warm-up?
Yeah, I think that now we can bring the fight to the front. Yesterday was more of a race of survival. So definitely today I'm feeling a lot better, and I'm really curious to see how it's going to play out, at the championship and everything. It should be a crazy race.
Should be a crazy race. Now, I'm hearing that we have about 40 seconds left. When I walked past Rocco earlier, he looked like he wanted to talk. I didn't stop and talk to him because I wanted to get some other faces in. But real quickly, before you go, I know your last-minute thoughts. You're kicking this off at the pole today. What's the focus?
It's 50-50 right now. It's basically the first half of the track's dry, second half's wet, but I'm ready to go. Everyone's making the same decision.
All right, it's time to go now, you guys.
All right, Jamie, thank you very much. And if you thought Blake Davis was making a fashion statement, how about Jackson Blackman? That was some fashion. And he talked about how good it felt after those wholesale changes. How good did it feel? He was darn near 2 seconds clear of the field in morning warm-up. Jackson Blackman, who's going to be starting in the middle of that second row, could be a force.
Could be. And there's a lot of other guys too. The track's going to be different than it was yesterday. You heard Rocco talking about the first half of the track is pretty dry, but you get to the second half of the track and there's a lot of puddles. So a lot of guys have some confidence. Rocco, I think, can be really good in these conditions because he knows he has to win. Jackson wants to finish the year really strong. Gus yesterday got third, but toward the end of the race was doing the same lap times as the leader. So he has to feel like if he gets off the line and gets a good start and can settle in early and not have to come from outside the top 10, he has the pace. He can do the lap times. He proved that yesterday.
Let's talk championship right now. We've got those two guys up top, Blake Davis, Gus Rodeo, separated by 1 point. How much are they going to want to go for a win? How much risk are they going to want to take? Or are they simply going to be tracking where the other guy is because whoever finishes in front is going to win it?
I think the big thing is see how you feel. The track's a lot different. If you feel like, oh man, I feel like I'm kind of on the edge, I would just probably pay attention to the guy. If he's fading back, watch him, because if he makes a mistake, I just have to be in front of him. But for Blake yesterday looked so comfortable in the wet. I would say if you feel like that today, go out there, do your own race. Don't let anybody else get in the way or cause you a problem.
And you're going to look at the points. You see Rocco there. He has got to win, and then he's got to have something fairly catastrophic happen to those other guys. Dominic Doyle, fourth in the points. He's technically out of it, so he can just go, as is Jackson, as are all the others out here. And you've talked about it, man. It's contract time, and you know, getting rides lined up and everything. So there are plenty of things to be racing for if you're not in this championship.
Yeah, just a lot to prove to yourself and your team and your crew, all the hard work. Just rewarding them with the great podium will be a good way to end the season.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating to see how this plays out, who decides to get uber aggressive early and really get after it, and who's going to just play the points game, because that can determine the championship. And we were talking about how the track is very different than it was yesterday. It's probably different than it was this morning in warm-up, too. It was a little bit a damper in warm-up. So these first couple of laps, and this lap in particular, is going to be really important. So we'll see how that plays out here as they're out on their warm-up lap.
REV'IT Twins Cup coverage is brought to you by REV'IT Apparel, Design, Innovation, and Performance. And by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series.
We get ready to start this racing weekend finale for the season for Twins Cup. We're going to take a look at the track map. In the dry, this place is a challenge. In the wet, it's downright diabolical. In mixed conditions, Roger, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. You see all these guys checking out the track here and trying to figure out where it's dry and where it's wet. You see, you know, Rocco's talking about the first part of the track. From turn 1 all the way to turn 5, it is pretty dry. That tricky chicane there in turn 3, we've seen give some riders some problems this week. Really fast turn 6, and then 7, 8, 9. That corner will get dry really quick. It's pretty flat. Turn 10, that left-hander with that sealer patch, it is the one that has caught the most guys out this weekend. Some guys going above it, some going under it, and from there it's the run to the start-finish line. You have to watch that little stream, though, right there where you see 11A.
Yep.
Seen some guys go through that stream yesterday, a little bit leaned over and had some problems.
You saw 8 right-hand turns, only 4 lefts, 3 of them really key. That middle part of the chicane, 5, and that turn 10. Here's your starting lineup based on Friday's dry qualifying. Rocco Landers on pole by a second over teammate Gus Rodeo. Blake Davis, the championship defender and points leader, in the 3rd spot. Dominic Doyle in the 4th spot. Jackson Blackman in 5th, and Ben Galati 6th in his return. Remarkable in and of itself. Filippo Rovelli coming back after debuting at Laguna with a podium. Spencer Humphreys, Hayden Schultz, then Cassidy Heiser, who was really quick early in that race yesterday. Chase Brown, Ryan Wolf, and Dallas Daniels, the guy who finished 2nd in the Mission Pro Twins Championship in flat track, coming back to do a little road racing. Aiden Sneed was really impressive in the weight yesterday. He's making a step up into this category, maybe dipping his toe in the water for next year. He's been racing in Junior Cup. So that is your starting lineup, a deep field, and we're going to see how this all plays out. I was a little surprised that maybe Filippo wasn't as close as he could have been yesterday. You think racing in Europe, he's got some good wet weather experience, but it's on a different tire than what he's used to. Here we go for the final time in 2023. Lights on, Twins Cup, we're green. Pretty even start from that front row. See if anybody's able to take advantage. It was Rocco Landers, though, didn't end up getting off the line that well, and it's Gus Rodeo leading into turn 1 over Davis, the championship contenders, Roger, right to the front.
Yeah, a lot better start today for Gus there. Pretty aggressive, wanting to lead early, not let Blake get out front like he did yesterday and kind of do his pace. Rocco actually lost a spot on the exit of turn 1.
And he's back now into that 3rd spot. And if he feels this track's dry enough and he comes charging after it, be interesting to see what game these two play. But they've already opened up a little margin over Rocco. There's Rocco with Dominic Doyle right behind him, and then the 72 of Ben Galati, and they'd like nothing more than for Ben to be able to get up behind Rocco and bother him.
And look at this, just how close all these guys are. You know, a lot of these other guys, they have nothing to lose.
Yeah.
You know, track with tricky conditions, they're just going to go out there and just let it
Blake
go.
Man, he was rolling some speed, and now is he going to be able to do anything down into 7? No. Now he's just going to tuck in, and this is that long right-hander here, and you can see it's almost dry, and then those little rivers that you were talking about, it's still tricky.
Still a couple puddles. There'll be one. This corner here would be pretty dry, and then as we go to this left, that's where there's a puddle right in the middle as well.
And they're just about to get to that patch right there that can catch so many people out so far. The lead group making their way around, looking pretty clean. Rodeo has a little bit of a margin, call it 5 bike lengths over Blake Davis as they come down and through this really tricky final turn and complete lap number 1. And not much of a gap between the two of them, obviously, only 2/10. But how about 2 seconds back to third? And that's Rocco Landers now trying to get back and around. And look at Ryan Wolf up to the inside. He just went from 5th to 3rd. What a move.
What a move on the brakes, even in the puddle there, getting both those guys. That's an aggressive, confident pass.
And Rocco just looked back at Dominic and gave a hand signal. I don't know whether he was saying, look, let's work together, try and get up to these guys here. But Blake Davis has closed it back down on Gus.
Come up over this hill, and there's going to be another puddle. You'll see these guys go through, and it's in a really tough spot because it's as you're starting to lean in. Turn 4, so you're not going to be able to make a mistake as Blake's going to try to make the pass.
Oh, showed the nose there, but just not quite able to get. You got to be really up alongside because it's a tricky exit. Now watch here, the 5th bike in your frame, that blue teal sort of hue. Look at this braking maneuver, straight line down to the inside. Still at the confidence, Roger, to tip it in.
And it was an aggressive pass, but a really good pass. He didn't get into Dominic at all, so good pass from him. And look, he's chasing the leaders down as he makes a mistake.
He sure is. And you can see there, Rocco, when he went up underneath Dominic Doyle, they touched. I think Rocco was just putting his hand up saying, hey, man. Oh, look at this. Blake Davis gets through after it looked like Gus Rodeo was going to snake that lead right away from him. Look at this. No, the big moment by Blake trying to push through the patch.
You can see that patch is still wet. It's kind of deceiving. The first part of that corner is pretty dry, and then you get toward the end where it's the slickest, and there's a puddle.
Well, I'll tell you, Blake Davis is riding with massive determination here this weekend. Let's go back. We got a couple of awesome replays for you. Look at this duel. Watching the 606 closing up on our 2 leaders and making some real time, but this battle.
Just going around the outside there. You know, Blake having the confidence, that corner being a little bit drier, and Ryan Wolf looks like he finally.
And he's in the middle of the track. And we are red flag. He was absolutely flying out there. And then it all went pear-shaped for him. And it happened well down this front straight. So he's moving. That's the good sign there. He may have just got the wind knocked out of him completely. So
looks like Ryan Wolf.
Ryan's up. Wow, absolutely crazy what's going on here. I mean, Ryan, what a move that he was able to make on that move down into turn 1.
It was that turn 10 that got Ryan Wolf.
Oh boy, that is just tough. And oh man, how good is it to see this? Heading on over, that's the 111. And that is Austin Sierra. He's here sort of filling in for Michael Blum. And good to see him up here. Shaken up for sure, but at least he's off the track. And that is the good news. So, yeah, there were, as it turns out, 2 different incidents that unfolded. And so we're going to show you what happened, first of all, to the 606 of Ryan Wolf, who was putting in a remarkable run, Roger.
Really good run there, getting himself into 3rd and chasing down the leaders pretty quick, and was pushing hard. And it was just right there in turn 10, right there on the exit where we've seen so many accidents. But, you know, for him, if he could get back to the pits and maybe get that thing changed up, he could get back out there.
And look how you can see how sodden the ground is here. Watch this. Yep, the patch. I mean, it caught Josh Hayes yesterday. So that's it. Now let's see what happened with the 111 that we were talking about of Augustin Sierra. Just runs a smidge wide there, Roger.
Just ran off the track with this wet grass. Just on slicks, even though they're rain tires, they're still slick.
And they're moving even in these damp conditions. So the bike certainly, and Augustin as well, traveling a long way down that front straight, but we saw him get up and got a little help over the wall. So I'm sure he's a bit shaken up, but at least he's up and okay right now. So we are under a red flag. And yeah, you bring up a good point. It's all a matter of whether he was able to get back to his bike quick enough here. I'm talking about Ryan Wolf, to be determined to still be actively competing. If he is, he'll be able to get back. We only had 2 laps in, so it could be a completely fresh restart.
Could be. And see, they're trying to check the bike out, get the grass off of it, because before they load it up onto the crash truck, they're going to make sure they don't bring any extra debris off the track. So they're just going to kind of knock that off and wait for the crash truck. And back to the Ryan Wolf, I don't think he's the one that caused the red flag, so he should be able to take his original grid spot.
Yep, absolutely. And we just got confirmation. It will be an original grid. Confirmation coming from race control. And so Ryan Wolf will be able to assume his grid spot. And he is, see if he's going to be able to repeat that amazing opening couple laps. Let's check in with Jamie.
Well, as all the riders have made their way back down to pit lane, I'm looking at the bike of Blake Davis right now, and so are all the Dunlop engineers. The whole crew is out here taking a look at these tires. I asked when we were under green flag, how long will the tires last? Everybody started on rains. In these conditions, the drying conditions, pit lane is now pretty dry, and you were just out there, Blake. What condition is the racetrack in right now with the rain tires?
Yeah, I mean, it's right in between, but we're just going to have to, you know, try and make the right decision, and I know we will, so go out there and outride everybody.
Competition's been pretty fierce from the time the race started, back and forth already. What have you learned being out there?
Not much, just strengths and weaknesses of me and Gus. Just, you know, where I can make moves, where I can, you know, plan for last lap and stuff like that.
The championship's going to come down to how it finishes today. Knowing what you know now about the racetrack, about the bike that you have for the race, what do you think of your chances?
I think I have some pretty good chances. I know the team has an amazing bike under me, and I know we're going to make the right decision on whatever it is, and hopefully we can get the win.
I love that quiet confidence that he has, Greg.
Yeah, you know, he has just been remarkable in this second half of the season. Quietly confident, but man, aggressive and combative and downright feisty on the track. Now, here's the rule for red flag. If less than 3 laps are completed, it reverts to the original grid, and all riders may restart if medically fit. So that's going to be the determining factor here, certainly for the 111. And, you know, he got his bell rung, I think, pretty good. I'm not sure we'll see him out. He'll be reviewed quickly. But it's great news for Ryan Wolf. That's the key.
Yeah, and for him, he came through the pack really quick, just looking to see where he started there, down in 14th, and made his way up to almost a lead there before the crash.
What did you think about the outside move by Blake on Gus Rodeo there? That was one heck of a pass that he put on, and we're going to maybe be able to get another look at that. But let's go back and see again the reason for the red flag. And it was so close, he almost saved this.
Just a little bit off track, and you can see soon as he gets in the grass with it being so wet, from that point he's just kind of a passenger there, and unfortunately wasn't able to save it.
Yeah, it was a tough one. And when it finally snapped, unfortunately it snapped him right back onto the track. So if he'd gone off into the grass, could have been a whole different story here. And there, some interesting observers here and some of the riders that are dialing it up here. Let's get down to Jamie.
You talked about the riders going to get another crack at it from the original grid position, Rocco. That means for 7 laps, you're going to get to start off as the pole sitter. What do you do different this time?
Get a better first lap. I wasn't feeling too great there on lap 1, but unfortunately I got together with Dominic there. He stayed up, so it was awesome. But sorry to him, a little bit of aggressive on my part. But we started to catch them, so hopefully we can take it to maybe get a race win to finish the season off. That'd be amazing, and I'm excited.
3 minutes until they're going to open up pit lane, so very quickly before you get back on the bike. Track's starting to dry out now. How much more comfortable are you as a rider?
I mean, again, like I said yesterday, like I'm feeling good in the wet and the dry. Obviously, I'm a little bit better in the dry than I am in the wet, but it just gives you more confidence. The wet tires will tend to stretch a little bit and make it a little bit sketchy, but it's not a big deal. We only have 7 more laps, so I'm not going to be worried. I'm just going to try to keep my tires as cool as possible and keep some life in them for the last few laps.
Good luck, Rocco.
You always have to be in these drying conditions playing that tire game. You can see him limping away. Non-racing related injury that he had, a week ago? So he's gimping around, but always fast on the bike. One thing I want to point out, for the first time here in about a day and a half, we're seeing a lot of definition in those clouds, which means that thick layer is leaving. And you can see it. Look at the spots that are starting to develop, some dry spots on this track. And you can hear Rocco talking about got to be really careful and saving those tires, but there's still going to be those rivers running across the track too, and checking it out here. And there you can see Blake Davis on the left, Gus Rodeo on the right, and as it sits right now, Davis still leads Gus Rodeo at this stage, so we'll have to see how this plays out. But you were talking about, adjusting on the fly, figuring things out. That warm-up lap, that's a place to be able to sort of suss out some grip. And let's go back and take a look at that pass by Blake, because he was confident about the outside and that would work here in this tricky sequence of corners.
Yeah, just all the way into turn 9 there, just the way it looked pretty dry, and I think he just kind of released the brakes. And at that point, when he goes around the outside, he's in the right spot here, and you can see he's going to go through this wet spot. The track's drying, but you see that?
Yeah, he was and then right behind, you can see Ryan Wolf drop off as well as he went through there. But you're right, it darn near skated on Blake Davis as well. And it looked to me like when he got to the outside there of Gus, that he, that pinched Gus a little bit on his radius, and Gus, that back end lit up for a second.
Yeah, and as long as he's on that outside, he's got the line in going into turn 10.
All right, let's get down to Jamie, who's found Ryan Wolf, who was a missile in those opening laps.
And we saw the moves that he was making. We also saw that tip over that you had. The bike is really dirty. You've got mud all over you, but you're ready to get back out there.
Oh, yeah.
What can you do again?
I'm hoping, since we're starting from the original grids, I'm hoping I can get another good start, get up with the front guys. But right now, we're just hoping to get back out on track. We still got a lot of work to do and 27 seconds left on the clock. Just hoping to get back out there at this point.
All right, get over there. Hurry.
Yeah, that was a pretty sick, the off he had, and look, and the way that bike dug and pivoted, we've been seeing a lot of those left foot pegs getting snapped off over there.
And also the left clip-on, looks like when it went from asphalt to the grass, it really dug in.
Okay. And here you can see that's where the number 111 of Augustin Sierra went, where they're trying to dry that and get that dirt that just sort of bleeds onto the track over there. Let's go back and take a look. It was only 2 laps, but man, Roger, was it eventful here. There's the start. Rocco looked to get away pretty good, but it was Rodeo and Davis that just leapt into the lead.
Yeah, the 2 championship contenders there got a really good start and just started their fight early.
They did, and then Dominic Doyle. But here comes Ryan Wolf. He was 5th across the line, into 3rd by the time he gets down into turn 1. And then here's where Blake said, I can make this work around the outside, and just made a great pass here and finished it up. But behind him, Ryan Wolf lost it right there. You can see him drop down. And at the same time, heading onto the front straight, this happened for Augustin Sierra. And the bike ended up off track, but Augustin was on it. He was able to get up, get off track, and Ryan Wolf was able to get that bike going again and bring him back, and he is going to be able to restart. And Augustin Sierra, you can see, shaken up for sure, but aware enough to get off track and get over to the side. He got some help getting over the wall, and I'm sure he's being assessed right now. So that's how this has gotten here to this point. When we go, it is a brand new race. It'll be reduced, though, Roger, to 7 laps. So even more pressure.
More pressure, to get a good start. I think that just adds to the pressure of getting a really good start. And, yesterday, if you were watching the races, you'll kind of notice the guys were avoiding the puddles.
Yep.
Now with the drying track and the rain tires, they're going to be looking for puddles to cool the tires down.
Absolutely. And Jamie, any idea on what the status is here for Ryan?
Well, they thought they were pretty close. They thought they were going to make it before pit lane closed. That has not happened. Fortunately for them, though, there's M4 XR Suzuki with their big pit setup is right next to them. They were able to run over to the toolbox and borrow a couple of tools to hopefully still get him going. You hear the applause in the background. The team's not giving up yet. He just won't be able to take that original grid position.
All right, they are throwing everything at it possible here. And I got a feeling for guys like Rocco, Gus, Blake, those guys there, they'll be a little relieved maybe to have Ryan starting at the back of the field because he was absolutely flying. But now we do it all again here, folks, as we get ready to go. And I think this might be just going out on the warm-up. Get one more lap to look at the track, and then they come around, pick up that start to wrap up their season here, and the drama continues to build here. And just waiting for that. There it is. They have been released on the warm-up lap. I'm just kind of looking to see if we are going to see Ryan Wolf. He's got to start from the pits anyway, but see if he's able to even get out, because it sure be nice for him to get out and get a lap just to see if those fixes took. But right now, you were talking about it, Roger. You know, this lap I would think is as much an exploration of where are there puddles. Yeah, I want to avoid the really bad ones, but where are the ones I can run through and keep these tires cool.
And really, the big puddle is between turn 1 and turn 2. So this is just gives you the opportunity to, you know, probably not push too hard on the drop parts of the track on the warm-up lap like you would if it was slicks before racing the dry,
right,
just to try to keep that temperature down. The rain tires are a lot softer, and that's why whenever it dries off and you're out there in the corners that aren't wet, they just get so hot, it just starts chewing them up.
And we can just see right there, right at the turn-in point, the tip-in point for turn 4, the track is damp right on line there as well. So, you know, there's these little spots where, you know, some of them in key areas where the spray's coming up. And, oh, man, that's too bad. That's Aiden Sneed, who was running the Wagbar MP13 Yamaha here, races in Junior Cup. And he was fast, Aiden was, but is having a problem. And, oh, for Ryan, steps off. That looks like it might be it. Just the reaction from the team and everybody there that he might be done. What a shame, because what a start he had.
What a shame, and you know, hats off to that team. They fought all the way to the end, and even trying to make it where he could start on pit lane. They were trying to get that bike ready, but just not able to do it. But credit to him, and you know, he's got to be feeling pretty good though after that first start, passing some of those guys, and you know, unfortunately went down.
Yeah, and you know, we've seen how many offs in that exact same spot this week, and were able to get the bike up with maybe a foot peg issue that was easily fixed, and it just had to happen for him here. There was too much damage done to the bike. So let's see what's going to be happening at this stage. And for Blake Davis, he had a great start. He and Rodeo went to the front. Now these guys got to repeat it. What's going on in their head?
I think they're all just thinking get a good start and get through that turn 1 and 2. It's wet through there, and just hopefully, I think for Blake, just feels really good in front. He looks like he wants to lead.
Yeah. And for Rocco, he didn't get the greatest start. And let's see what he's able. He's got a nice dry line. It looks like if he can get the hammer down. And let's see what happens. We do it again. We're green. And again, Rocco not great off the line. Davis, Rodeo, and even Dominic Doyle. Jackson Blackman having a big off back there. Good catch, Roger. And he's waving right now. And he's holding that right foot up. So I think we're going to obviously probably be going right back to a red flag here. It hasn't come out yet, but one would imagine that. Let's see what happens here. Once again, Gus Rodeo doing exactly what he needed to do, but Davis glued right to this is almost a rinse and repeat in terms of a start with Dominic Doyle right there in third.
Yeah, Dominic Doyle, another great start for him. And just like the first start, we'll see Blake in turn 5. That puddle right there, he has to release the brakes.
Yep, just can't dive in there right now. On a dry track, he may have been able to make that one happen here. And they're continuing on right now. Oh, man, the EV crews and the workers lifted him and carried Jackson Blackman off the track, so we stay green. So this battle is on.
Another good start, Filippo Ravelli in 4th.
Yeah, well, you know, he showed up first time ever at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, promptly popped it right onto the podium. But I'll guarantee he's probably never ridden on these wet Dunlops before.
No. And you can see all these guys, how they pick the bike up when they get to that tricky spot or turn 10. And you see the white flags with the cross out there. That's the rain flag. That means there's some rain in that section of the track. I've seen it in turn 10.
It looks like it's darkened up a little bit. The sky's out in front of us here. Here we go. And across the line, Gus Rodeo, Davis, Doyle, Filippo Ravelli, and Rocco Landers now in 5th. And Hayden Schultz, Ben Glady, Humphreys, Dallas Daniels, a great opening lap up into the top 10 in 9th.
I know Dallas had a really strong warm-up this morning, and was kind of looking forward to this race. So for him, good lap, but right here, Gus out here in front, just like you said, kind of a carbon copy of the first start.
Look at that. We're just getting a little misty squall that's sort of coming through here, and that might be what we're getting. Then it looks like we're going to be clear for a little bit longer here. And look at Davis. Gus is leading, but Davis going to try that move. This time he's a lot more along the inside, and still he can't get the brake aggressively enough, and Gus just turns it across.
Yeah, but Blake is just really good to that turn 4, you know. Maybe if he lags back a little bit the next lap and just carries that momentum. But with that patch there, Blake has to be careful.
And now let's see. This is where Blake made that brilliant outside pass on that first start. I don't think he's quite close enough to do it here. He's swinging out wide, trying to explore it right now. And that might be just a case. Wow, look at that. Now, is he out too wide? Looks like he did. Just overshot it a little bit.
Gus did what you're supposed to do. You know, he released the brakes, went a little bit wider, where Blake wasn't able to make that pass.
And here's that treacherous again, a big wiggle for Blake there. And looks like in the background, Rocco may have fought his way up into 3rd already. Yeah, yes, he did.
That's Ravelli.
That's Ravelli. What a run by Ravelli. Got around on Dominic Doyle and puts himself up into 3rd. Filippo Ravelli from Italy. And look at this. Davis down to the inside into turn 1. Deep on the brakes. Gets it woe down. New leader. And at this point, if the race finishes like this, he's champ. It's going to be this way. Whoever finishes in front, Roger, walks away with the title.
And this gives Gus the opportunity to follow Blake now. Blake was behind Gus for a couple laps, kind of knows where he's stronger. This is the part of the track where Blake seemed a lot stronger when he was behind Gus. This next turn 4, so we'll see now with Blake being in the lead.
And Filippo Ravelli also on a WAGBAR MP13 entry. So with Aiden out, he is the guy that's carrying the banner for that team here. And here we go through that really, really tricky turn 5. And Rocco Landers looks like he may have slipped back. That might be Hayden Schultz now that's up into that top 5 spot right now. Meanwhile, this duel at the front continues. And what's going to happen when Filippo Ravelli, if he does, catches these guys? You know, how hard are they going to fight? Or are they just going to let him go? Because it's really down to these two.
And you can see on the screen, our camera, there's a couple drops coming down. Blake's a little bit wide there. The track is going to change if it starts raining.
I'm just interested to see if Blake changes how he runs through here, because every time he's gone through, he gets that little wiggle. This time, it was Gus Rodeo that had the little wiggle through there, and that gives Blake a couple of quick bike lengths. And Ravelli it looks like he's closing it up just a little bit. So let's see what the margin is.
Oh! Gus crashes.
Gus Rodeo, same sort of spot on the track. Unbelievable. Hops off the track, but bike right in the middle of the track right now as well. Hands go up in the air. Let's see. Here it is. Oh, that time, Roger, it looked like it wasn't getting to the edge of the track. It happened before.
Just that little puddle there with the lane angle, and, you know, unfortunately for Gus, just glad to see him up and moving there.
Boy, when it lets go at this section of track, it lets go suddenly, doesn't it? Look at that.
Just trying to get that good drive onto the front straightaway to get close enough to get a little bit of the draft, maybe make a move down into turn 1.
Wow. So, obviously massive championship implications here, but far more importantly, it looks like Gus, he was able to crawl off the track. He knew there was oncoming traffic here and got off track, but wow. They were putting on such a show, and here you see just the tail end of it here.
Just a scary place as a rider, knowing that you're sliding down the track.
Yeah. And the nice thing there was, as he was still moving, he was alert enough to look straight back at the traffic. So let's check this out here. Boy, that bike just turned into a top. Wow.
It's just, like I said, when you're sliding down the track like that and you know you're in the racing line and there's 25 other bikes behind you, that is the worst feeling right there.
It's got to be spooky. And I mean, like I said, that in that slower replay we did from a different angle, you could see as he was slowing down his rotation, he looked right down or up the track at that point. So, and look at this. I think he might be thinking about Barber as well. Remember at Barber when he wandered away from the bike and then he couldn't make the restart, so he wanted to get back to it. And we've only completed, that was completing 3 laps. So potential here, we'll have to check out what the officials say, that if they can fix that bike and we go to another complete restart, he might be able to get back into it here. So really a wise move by Gus. Once he got up and realized, okay, I'm okay, went right to the bike to show he was actively competing. So, and you just got a shot there of our intrepid reporter, Jamie Howe, tracking the story here with Gus Rodeo. And does this give life back to Ryan Wolf? I don't think so, because he couldn't make that start. So let's get down to Jamie. Jamie, what are you tracking down there?
Well, Gus Rodeo made his way over the wall. You're on the way back to the paddock area, not going to be able to restart this race. First of all, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good. I was just didn't really want to slide down the front straightaway at 100 miles an hour. But no, I mean, we're out there on rain tires, and it would have been cool to kind of get a little bit of a delay maybe and race in the full dry, race in the full wet. It's kind of a little bit dangerous, honestly, but that's whatever. I mean, we've watched MotoAmerica all year long make these decisions, so you know what? Can't even be surprised. But what are you gonna do? It's not how I wanted to lose the championship and a little paycheck, but at least I'm all right, and it's time to go home.
And this race has now been declared complete. Gus Rodeo will finish out the title hopes with 3 wins on the 2023 season. Greg.
And Gus should be proud of his year.
You bet he should. You bet he should. And look at you can see the grin inside that helmet here when he realizes that he has defended a champion. Nice move there by Dominic Doyle, who I think will end up being scored 3rd with Filippo Rovelli in that 2nd spot. So for Blake Davis, you know, there's no questioning that he earned this too. You know, I mean, obviously Gus really proud of his season. He has every right to be, but Blake, you know, when things got close again, he just stepped it up.
Stepped it up, just like last year toward the end of the year when he needed those wins. This weekend, needing a lot of good results, was able to come here and he was just more aggressive this last part of the season and got himself in that title fight.
Yeah, he would attack a little bit more than we've seen in the past. He also defended a little bit more aggressively, and I think, you know, we saw Avery Dreyer in Junior Cup make a big step this year. I think we've seen the same thing from this young man.
And he's dabbled in super sport a little bit, so I think that's probably going to be his next step. But now he's 2-time Twins Cup champion.
Yeah, he's knocking on Rocco's record in terms of championships. Rocco's got a lot of wins, but here it is. Obviously, these are provisional points until everybody gets through tech and all that. But up wins it by 26. Rocco, who ended up with a 7th place finish, will still be 3rd. Dominic Doyle, you can see in 4th. And there he is, you bet, champion for the 2nd straight year. What a story for Blake Davis as he defends his Twins Cup championship.
REV'IT Twins Cup coverage is brought to you by REV'IT Apparel, Design, Innovation, and Performance. And by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series.
All right, oh, look at this. We now have rain coming down as well, so it gets curiouser and curiouser here. I got to tell you, though, Roger, you just pointed this out to me. From starting 15th, based on Friday qualifying, pretty remarkable ride up into a 6th spot for a flat tracker.
Yeah, Dallas Daniels up to 6th, and might have got a couple more spots if the race would have went the whole distance. You see the guys out there, MotoAmerica crew. Hats off to these guys that work on this track when a rider goes down, and they put a lot into it and work their butts off in all the conditions as well.
Yeah, let's take a quick look here at what we've seen so far. First start, and it was right off the drop. Gus Rodeo and Blake Davis going to the lead. Dominic Doyle there sneaking up into that third spot. And as they completed that first lap, but Ryan Wolf absolutely flying, went from 5th to 3rd. And then as Blake Davis made an amazing pass here in Gus Rodeo, it kind of went wrong for Ryan.
Yeah, Ryan right there on the exit of turn 10. Went over that patch, slid out pretty easy, and then we had this accident on the front straight.
Yeah, Gustin Sierra just the wrong spot. And when he went off, it pitched him back onto the track. So red flag, restart, and it was rinse and repeat. You can see Davis, here's Rodeo, but in the background, Justin Blackman had a big off. But once again, those two go to the front with Dominic Doyle in second, and then a beautiful late braking move for Blake to take the lead.
Yeah, down into turn 1 there, Blake got a really good job, but Gus Rodeo coming on the front straightaway, getting on the gas there, went through the puddle, stepped out, and there was nothing he could do at that point.
Yeah, nothing. You know, he's holding his right hand there a little bit gingerly. Otherwise, was okay. Runs over to the bike, and then they realize that that's not going to happen. And at that point, the race officials called the race complete. And there, for the second straight year, is your Twins Cup champion, a young man named Blake Davis. Jamie?
And Blake Davis, you said it, you just had to stay focused, stay calm, and you were able to do that today to wrap up the championship, to wrap up the race win. When you look back on 2023, what will you remember the most?
We definitely struggled near the beginning of the season, but the team got the bike dialed in. Pittsburgh, the bike felt, I mean, just amazing, the best it's ever felt. So, I mean, a huge thanks to them, into Bobblehead Moto, Yamaha, KYT, Dainese, Sunstar, Core Moto, Easy Grip. I know I'm forgetting some, but thank them all, and no, it was an amazing season.
Wrapping up the championship like this, when you knew you had to finish ahead of Gus Rodeo, unfortunately he wasn't able to take the checkered flag today. But when you think about the competition that's developed over the course of the season, what does it tell you about the future of this class?
Yeah, well, first off, I really hope Gus is okay. It looked like a fast crash at the end of the straight there, or at the beginning of the straight. But no, coming into this season, just seeing some of the names, honestly, I thought it was going to be a little bit easier than it actually was. But no, they put on, once I saw Gus in there and once Rocco joined, they were both flying, absolutely, you know, out of the league. And no, it was a tough season, but we battled with them and we came out on top.
Now you have something that you get to accept from Bill Cumbo. It is that #1 plate for Blake Davis. You can go ahead and hand that over. And congratulations on a second consecutive Twins Cup championship. We're going to move over to second place finisher today, the number 27, Filippo Ravelli. You started the race further back. You were able to make up some ground there. What did you learn about this racetrack in these intermediate conditions?
Yeah, it's a very difficult racetrack. We start the weekend with zero grip, but I was feeling confident in the race, and I want to thank the team for making me come back in this amazing championship, and I want to come back next year.
All right, well, we look forward to seeing you back next year. Congratulations on that second place finish. Going to move over to Dominic Doyle. When we talked to him out on the grid, he said his job was simple. He just had to put your head down. You said you needed to run your own race. You were able to do that and move up again today. How'd you do it?
Yeah, I mean, I think my starts have just been good all weekend, and that's kind of played into my hand. I just got to thank my whole Team ESO team and Giac Moto, Yamaha, Arai helmets, RST, TCX boots, everyone else that helps me get here, Dr. D, BartCon, just everyone that helps me, puts me in this position. I just couldn't do it without all of them. I just rode my own race today and landed up on the box again, so I can't really ask for more.
And now the rain is falling, but we're going to get these guys up on the podium and actually celebrate this race. Congratulations.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, this was pretty disjointed and everything, but when you win a championship, you've got to deal with everything that's thrown at you, right? And Blake Davis, both starts right up in the top two, found a way around in a hurry. If he doesn't make that pass early in the second race, he maybe doesn't win this championship because Gus may have stayed upright and gone on with it. So, he did everything he needed to do to defend.
Took the lead there and was trying to get away, and Gus did not want to let that happen. But for him, struggled earlier in the year, really stepped up, him and his team, and I think for him, Rocco really elevated Gus and Blake.
I think so too. Yeah, absolutely. And how cool would it be in this category if we had the man from Galate come and run the full season next year, Filippo Rovelli. He's made 2 events here, and out of 4 races, he's twice finished in second spot. That young man is for real, and what an addition he would be. And I got to say real quickly, another good run by Ben Galati in his return after missing an entire season after that off in surgery after Daytona. So welcome back, Ben, and Dallas Daniels, impressive as well. So Twins Cup, the champion is decided for the 2nd straight year. It is the young man named Blake Davis.